So recently we asked the subscribers of our mailing list what they think about Language Boost, and one of them said this: I like how the two of you, Jan and Lucas, are striving to simplify language learning to make it more effective in the early stages. It's not about working hard sometimes, it's about working smart. Okay, so working hard, working smart, studying hard, studying smart. How can we do this, and how does that apply in language learning? That's the question that we are going to answer today, so keep watching. Hey, you want to learn a new language quickly? Click on the link below and we will send you our free ebook full with tips and tricks on how you can learn languages quickly. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, I know that many of you have been learning a language for a long time, and you might not be at that level where you can actually have conversations and where you feel confident. You have put in all the time, you have learned, you have studied so hard, and yet you don't see the results. How does it come? Well, maybe you're not studying smart. So let's talk about learning hard or studying hard and smart. And I'm going to share with you a story or an example. So my sister studied Mandarin Chinese for 4 years at university, and she had to learn all the characters and she had to learn all these difficult words and like business Chinese. It was really hardcore. In the beginning I was like, why does she want to learn Chinese? I mean, what can you do with Chinese? It's worthless, right? Well, that was in the beginning. And then in the second year in college I got the opportunity myself to go on an exchange to China, and I did that. So I spent 6 months in China, and every time when I learned something in the classroom, I would try it out with the locals, and after 6 months, I got to a level where I could actually hold conversations. I was in China, I wasn't afraid to approach people in Chinese, I could use what I have learned. So I called up with my sister. Actually, she visited me that year, and she started learning Chinese like 2 or 3 years before I went to China, and her Chinese was okay, but I'm not really sure who was better at that stage, And eventually she got her degree, so she did 4 years of Chinese, and I kept using the Chinese that I know, so I also kept improving, and eventually, I think 1 year later, of course, my Chinese, and actually up until now, my Chinese is much more natural and fluent, I would say. So she studied much harder. She spent way more time with the language than I did, but I did it differently, So what can we learn from this? Well, at university or from some language courses, you have to learn everything by heart. For example, in Chinese, if you have to learn to write all the characters by hand, it's going to take so much of your time. But I think the real question that you should ask yourself is, what is your goal? And if your goal is to speak a new language, well, then maybe you should focus on just that. And that's exactly what I was doing in China, and that's also what has allowed me to become conversational in Chinese and eventually fluent in a matter of, I think I was fluent by maybe within 2 years. But I think it's only thanks to one thing. I was using what I had learned, I was filtering, so I was only focusing on the most important vocabulary. I was focusing on not just learning the vocabulary, but actually using them in real sentences, eventually in conversations. And, that way I could also enjoy learning the language, not really studying anymore. I only did it in the beginning. Eventually I was just using the language all the time, and I just kept learning from the speakers I was talking to, right? So, can you apply hard and smart studying in language learning as well? Yes, I do think so. I think if you want to study smart, you ask yourself, okay, what do I want to do with this language? And if it's speaking, you focus on that. And that's exactly what we do here at Language Boost as well. If your goal is to simply become confident in a new language and not to get a degree in a language, you just focus on those activities that are the most helpful, that contribute more to where you eventually want to get than Then other activities like learning lots of difficult vocabulary and writing long articles, and all those other things that you have to do at university. So I think this is indeed definitely something that you can apply in language learning as well. So now my question for you is, do you have the same experience? Do you think that there is not maybe a shortcut, but do you think that there is a way to learn languages smarter, and are you actually doing it? Okay, let me know in the comments below. I'm looking forward to reading them, and if I find the time, I will also reply to your comments there. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.